Hello everyone, Shirley here. Today we're going to be going over Mythic Chrome King Gallywix. And as of recording this, this is the current rank 1 Arms Warrior parse for this boss, so I'm pretty happy with that. And jumping in here on the pull, we're playing just a pure single target build, except I'm picking up Wrecking Throw, just for the beginning of the boss fight. You really don't need it, but it's a little bit extra damage and it's fun to play around with, so that's what I'm doing here. Off the rip here, we're going to charge in, just put up a Rend, and then Colossus Smash into my Blade Storm. I'm saving all of my major CDs like Avatar and Potion and Dragon Roar. And that's so I can have them in a little bit here. But we're going to start off in this quadrant here and immediately get the lightning on us and throw up a Spell Reflect to help mitigate that. And then I'm just inching up ahead here in front of everybody as we rotate around the boss. And we're holding our kicks here for just a little bit just to get more time on Gallywix. And this is where I'm using all of my CDs and my first potion. I want to make sure that I reset my Blade Storm fast enough on Gallywix so I have it back up for all these little guys. Now, sometimes you can just get unlucky with procs and you won't have it, but most of the time, as long as you're paying attention to your procs, you can reset it in time for that initial burn phase right there. And we're going to go ahead and drop all those guys, bait the laser beam off to the side there. And I'm always targeting that technician because I've got a kick assigned to him, so I always want to be looking at him. And given all the cooldowns that you're loading at the beginning there, I'm oftentimes going to have threat on him, so if I get like the rockets, I can run him out with me so I still get my kick. But anyway, moving on to the next set of mechanics here, we get the first suppression cast, and I'm going to leap out, but not straight to the platform. I leap out to the side there, that way I don't bait the little circles on the ground for everybody else that has to run through. I want to leap out to the side and then charge in on that technician, and this is where we're going to send our second Blade Storm, or third Blade Storm, I guess, right here, and get into our next soak circle here, and immediately run up and bait the next frontal. And run out, avoiding all these little bombs here. And one thing I did do after that first, right before that suppression cast, is I was actually holding on to my Colossus Smash there because I wanted to use it with sweeping strikes and cleave a couple of adds with it when we moved across there, is what I did with it there. But this next set, we've got like a 20-second window where we can go ahead and send Colossus Smash again here and keep that cooldown cycling, but once again, I'm going to be holding on to my Avatar and Blade Storm and all my major cooldowns for this suppression into the next set of little adds. Now, yes, this is a bit of pad, but these guys need to die, and it's going to make, progression a lot smoother, getting all the little adds for your bomb carriers, cleaned up immediately. Now, I'm going to be on this tech, even though he's running out away from the other guys, which is a little unfortunate here that we can't, permanently cleave them there. But, making sure that kick doesn't go off is much more important, so we're going to chase him down. And move back to the side here, bait this frontal. Once again, I don't get any of the rockets, so I don't need to move out. We're just baiting the frontal here. We do get a little close to our soak circle here, but that was just to avoid the bombs on the ground there, because they're not super dangerous, but enough of them will still kill you. So we're going to go ahead and cycle the next set of CDs here. We're just going to Thunderclap and get up a Rend on all these little guys into our next Blade Storm. And targeting this technician once again, cleaving him down, pop and sweep immediately out of our Blade Storm. And we can move him over into my soak here, so we make sure that we get that kick on time here, which is nice. And then the next suppression cast is going to go off. I'm just refreshing my dots on him before I jump across the room here and charge this technician just to get across the room for the most part. If he was higher, I would be hitting him here, but now I'm just standing around waiting. The only thing I'm going to use him for is execute him once just to maintain Juggernaut stacks before they fall off. Otherwise, it's back onto Gallywix, moving back around the room here to bait out that line. Right there was a bunch of bombs that spawned. That was a little bit spicy. Luckily, I still had Spell Reflect up, so I could throw that really quick there. And catch it. I wouldn't be afraid to even throw parry there, but sometimes I like to have parry for the first intermission coming up right here, actually. And this is where we're just going to be holding on to our CDs. And this is why I delay my main set of cooldowns at the beginning of the fight, because they end up lining up really well with all of these ad sets and all the mechanics that come out. So as this first intermission, we're going to send all of our cooldowns, a Blade Storm, of course, and throwing up a Reflect each time these guys come out, because this Juice cast really hurts if it goes off. But other than that, we're just going to be stacking up on that X marker, which is just off to the left of the line, because if you stand on the line, the lightning is probably going to spawn onto you when you're cleaving all the little adds, and it will kill you. So just, stand in the beam basically when it spawns and just pray, because it's not going to hurt you as long as you're close enough to the line. It's just, you know, a little spicy until you get used to it. But other than that, we're going into the second phase here, and I am a backup for these soaks for this healing absorb, so I'm not going to get at in this first one. I'm going to tuck into that little corner there, avoiding the lightning on the ground, because that stuff is very spicy. And then after that, we're going to run out for the suppression cast. I would say during this phase, the biggest thing you can really think about, I guess, is you really want to be aware of when each suppression's going off. Fortunately, I get this bomb cast here, and our rogue stole the corner spot there, so I have to run off the boss for a little bit here. It's just a little bit of lost off time, but not a big deal. But otherwise, as we're nearing the execute phase here, after we enter this phase, I'm just going to be sending all of my cooldowns as they come up, especially Colossus Smash and Blade Storm, and continuing to execute. And then the first Avatar and Roar that come up in phase 2 here, I'm going to instantly just send these as they come up. You could probably have delayed this for a few seconds until after this suppression cast, but I went ahead and sent it anyway here. It wasn't that big of a deal, but we're going to run out for the suppression. I'm going to throw a parry there because that lightning line was coming in pretty close and I didn't want to risk it. But otherwise, we're just cycling this next set of cooldowns into the boss, continuing to execute, avoiding the big bombs. I did hold my second potion here, though. I'm saving that for later on in the fight. Now, I finally get a rocket here. We're just going to drag that off to the edge. Luckily, it's pointed completely away from the raid, so that was a really nice spot for it. And continuing to execute, I was once again not called to soak that cone there, so being tucked in the corner there, either corner in this little quadrant area is pretty good for avoiding that. And then we're going to send the next Blade Storm and run out from this suppression here. Ideally, I'll have Reflect up for each of these. I think I used it on the rocket spawn that time, so I didn't have it right there for that suppression. But ideally, you'd, spell Reflect for all of those. One other thing you can kind of min-max is you could, when you're running out like that and you're off the boss, you could use your Wrecking Throw there. Speaking of which, if I didn't mention it at the very beginning of the fight, I just Wrecking Throwed the shield at the beginning. If it wasn't obvious. It's like a free 10, 11 million damage or something for that. And you don't really lose a lot in your talents to take it. So as we get back over here, this rocket was unfortunate, but I just stopped moving really early with it because there wasn't really a good angle to position it, especially with the beam about to go off right there. As we near the final phase here, phase 3, the last little section there gets cut off. We're moving over to the X marker, once again hugging the right side, but we don't want to be on the line, of course. We want to be in the beam when it spawns, and this is where I'm going to be using my sweeping strikes right as all these dudes spawn, and this is my last second potion here, DPS potion, and sending the big Blade Storm and cleaving all these guys down, throwing up Reflect and a parry. I didn't want to risk any of these juice-hits getting through and just one-shotting me. So yeah, that's the last of the defensives here. Speaking of one-shotting, these ranged adds in the back are very dangerous still. We're just hugging the line there so we don't get hit by the beam, and I get sniped by one coming up here in a second that takes me down to 30% HP. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that. Luckily, it didn't kill me, though. We're just moving out from this last soak here, and yeah, down goes Mythic Gallywix. If you guys have any questions, I know I was going through that very fast. Feel free to leave them down below. Happy to link logs and everything like that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.